Well, Chinae, you are one of the OG content creator influencers.
10 years.
Been in the game.
This year is 10 years.
Been in the game for 10 years.
It's like I feel 100 years old.
You're not, though.
I'm not. To remind myself I'm not.
But now that you are in your, basically your wedding season, planning your wedding in, what was it, like 5 months? What was your like start to finish? You started planning in January.
Like seriously planning like 100 days.
100
around
days.
that.
Okay, so really aggressive.
Yeah.
But you also used to be a planner too.
I was.
So you had the experience.
Which I thought would shield me from stress. And
it's different. No, when it's your own, it's different, right?
I think so. I mean, like, I'm such a Virgo. I'm so type A. I was like, definitely it's going to be easy. I used to be a planner.
And not just doing like small events.
No,
you were planning
big
like
weddings.
Yeah. So
Really?
tell us about, first of all, let's rewind. Give everyone a quick background, who you are.
Okay, so I have been a creator for 10 years. I moved to New York in 2007. So I worked as a marketing director in luxury furniture before then. And then I spun off into event planning, wedding planning, all of that before becoming a content creator. So I've had a little bit of everything. Met my fiance 3 years ago. Hinge. Like everybody else.
Which I've heard quite a few people have had success on Hinge.
Huge.
It feels like it's like kind of been the
I think it's the
one.
I think, not to do a Hinge ad,
Yeah.
but I think it's kind of like the one that people like meet.
Yeah. I used to hear Raya a lot, like maybe
Yeah.
like 5 years ago, not so much anymore. And Bumble a while ago and The League a while ago, but I've been hearing Hinge pretty regularly lately.
I think it's bubbling to the top.
Okay.
I have gone out with a couple like washed out celebrities from Raya, but we'll
Girl,
get to that.
same.
Yeah, that story's for another podcast. But yeah, so my fiance and I met. He's Portuguese. I'm American. He's a diplomat at the UN. He's relaxed. But you know what's really amazing is like I'm so glad that the relationship is so good that the wedding planning doesn't, even though wedding planning is really hard, it hasn't like disrupted our dynamic, which is like all I could ask for because this is very stressful.
Yeah.
But basically we met, I was doing content creation. I still am. I thought because of my background, wedding planning, and because of my background in marketing, all of that, like this would be such a breeze. But what they don't tell you is planning a wedding in Portugal is different.
It's a different country.
New Yorkers are so
responsive.
anal.
Yeah.
Portuguese are not.
Yeah. I've heard the same thing about destination weddings, like in a lot of places.
Yes.
Italy is very similar as well. There's a very, especially like the south of Italy, it's a very relaxed vibe. They're not on email all the time. They like to jump on a phone. So having someone local is really helpful. But your in-laws are local, right?
Yes. And then we have a planner that's in Portugal.
Great.
So even though I could do it all myself, I was like, I don't want to. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like before I was a planner, I really didn't ever know the value of having a planner because so many of my friends got married without planners and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, when I was doing that job, I was like, I don't know how people do this alone. Mm-hmm. Did you have a planner?
I did. Yeah. I used actually a very good friend of my sister's and friends of our family, Gianna Sanfilippo. She actually also does interior design as well and does like high-end weddings. And like we weren't really doing a big
right.
like thing. We did the engagement party, but she knows my family, did my brother's wedding, did my stepbrother's wedding. So knows our family and our dynamic. And she's very good friends with my sister. So it was like she knows the vibe. Yeah. She knows my dad, Charles, and they got along swimmingly, which was really important.
My favorite story is your dad being so involved planning the engagement party.
Oh, my dad was our full planner. He was like, excellent.
It was, you had two planners.
Yeah. No, but my dad, like he really wanted, our story is that we got engaged during COVID.
Right.
And we waited a long time. We were thinking, should we just do a quick micro wedding with like 20 people, like 3 months later? And then we decided to wait. And then we were waiting so long, we got comfortable waiting.
Totally.
And my dad was like, hey, you've been engaged for like 2 years. Like, can you do something? We're like, oh yeah, we probably should. So we planned an engagement party in like 90 days. So I get it.
But your engagement party was like a wedding.
It was like a wedding.
Like different.
Yeah. We went a little bit. And my dad ended up doing a podcast episode with me talking about the planning. And the most important thing to my dad was the food. He's like, I want everyone to be full and eat. And he's at the stage of his life where a lot of his friends' kids are all getting married. Just like,
yep.
And so he's been to, probably goes like 20 weddings a year. And they're all at like, Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, all these over-the-top beautiful venues.
And he's like, not enough food.
And not enough food. And so my dad was like, we're going all out on the food. And I was 100% on board. And so
that's the most dad energy thing, is to be like, not enough food.
Yeah.
I'm having the exact opposite problem. So in Portugal, I wasn't aware, but it's the menus, when you're picking menus through catering, it is so extreme, the amount of food.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we don't need this much food. I need people up and dancing.
Yeah.
And like, American guests are not used to eating cocktail hour starters, then 2 full entrees, then dessert. I'm like, we got to lighten this up.
Yeah.
Because like, people are not used to eating
They're
this
not
much
going to
food.
be able to dance with that full of a belly.
No.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we'll probably have dinner for 3.5 hours. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't want people sitting for that long.
So what made you decide on a destination wedding?
It was decided for us. So basically, my fiance and I were going to just do like the most micro of weddings, in the sense of doing a Catholic ceremony with just his family, 4 people. My friends bullied me. They said, well, we're going to come from America. I'm like, well, it's just a ceremony at a church. It's not a wedding. Like, we're going to come. I was like, okay, I guess I got to plan a wedding.
Yeah.
So I was basically bullied into having a wedding. They all owe me. Like, they better start writing checks, because I'm like, this is out of control.
How many friends do you have coming, or what's the size?
I think we probably have, so our total wedding size is around 100. So we kept
when I first talked to you, it was like 40.
I know.
Really, it's ballooned up.
Kelly, I know. It's bad. It was 4 at one point. So now it's growing, but hopefully not over 100.
But also, you low key, when like a week after I met you, were like, "Do you want to come?"
Yeah,
you
but
were
you know
opening
what?
invitations.
I meet people. So let me tell you a cute little story. So one of my best friends, whose daughters are now in my wedding, we met very briefly, and then she was like, oh, I think you're really cool. Like, do you want to hang out on Friday? And I was like, sure. She's like, we're having this little thing in the West Village. And so I was like, yeah, I'll come. I show up. It's her wedding reception.
Oh.
She didn't tell me that. And I go, I can't believe the first time we're ever hanging out, I don't know you. She goes, I knew you were going to be important in my life, and so I didn't want you to miss this event in my life.
Did you like know to dress appropriately? Like, were you dressed appropriately?
I was dressed cute.
Okay.
I always come correct.
Yeah.
But like, it was a casual, like,
okay, got it.
It was a casual kind of like, they did City Hall. It was like cute. But I was like, when I meet people that are great.
Well, I'm planning to be in Portugal, which happens to be at the exact same time of your wedding. So that's why.
Kind of bought tickets to Portugal during my wedding. So it kind of seems like she's inviting herself. I don't know. You're saying that I invited you to my wedding, but it kind of seems like you were kind of planning to be there.
I actually have another friend of mine who got married 4 years ago in Portugal, and she was like, don't sleep on it. Like, as a destination, people don't realize like how beautiful it is. And once you're there, just, there are some parts of it that are more cost effective.
Totally.
Although I have heard as of late that the price
going
is
up.
Yeah, the price of it. It's become, the secret is out. People love Portugal.
Well, also, you know what? It's interesting. Like, not only with the wedding industry in Portugal is it growing, but just like we go to restaurants now, and I'm like, $15 cocktail.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's like New York pricing.
They got it.
Yeah.
They
figured
realized,
it out.
Yeah, they realized it.
That the $3.50 cocktail was a deal. People would pay more.
And during COVID, people were like flocking to move there to do like digital nomad kind of work.
Yep. And they had the golden visa, where if you invested like a couple $100,000, you could like get citizenship. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
So a lot of startup founders were moving there.
I think they ended that.
Yeah, did they?
I think that's over.
They got a lot of people in there.
I
actually had a friend of mine who bought an old pasta factory there and is turning it into a wedding venue.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
Wait, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't think they've broken ground yet. I think that things move a little slower there, to your point, in planning your wedding.
So we want to eventually buy like, because when I say palace, like in America, you say palace and it's like, whoa, a palace. There's palaces everywhere in Lisbon. Like everyone used to live in a damn palace. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of them, and a lot of them are owned by the government and just sit empty. And so I'm like, I want to buy one of those palaces and turn it into like a really, really fabulous boutique hotel. I mean, there's tons of boutique hotels that are palaces there, but I want to do one that caters to like kind of a American clientele. Mm-hmm. But I think about the renovation and how slow it would go. Mm-hmm. Planning the wedding has actually given me insights into like so many other things about Portugal.
Well, there's just so many different culture. When you're planning a destination wedding, you have to take into consideration the cultural dynamics over there. Yeah. And it's a more relaxed vibe, especially compared to New York City.
Oh, I mean, we're the worst. Like, we're the worst. Let's be honest. We're the worst. But I will say, you know, it's probably better for your mental health.
To be more relaxed?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they all seem happy.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're like, yeah, 3 p.m. cold brew. Like, let's do it. Like, that's, I mean, they probably have it figured out. But, and I think I would like to live that lifestyle. But when you're trying to plan something and execute something in 100 days, less.
So you're 45 or 42. We're very close.
Today, we are 43 days from my wedding.
Okay, so by the time this comes out, we'll probably be like 20 days from your wedding or around the time of your wedding. It's going to be like 2-week delay.
Whatever God you pray to, pray you send one up.
What do you have left? Give me the list of what you've done and what do you have left and what's giving you the most anxiety.
Has anyone cried on this podcast?
Not yet, but feel free. We're supportive here.
Okay, guys, we've been chasing an organist for literally 2 months. So we just got a word from our organist today, which is a really good thing.
Someone who plays the organ that will be playing at your ceremony.
Yes. So our ceremony is at one of the oldest churches in Portugal, and it is the oldest organ in Portugal and the largest. And so there's just a guy that knows how to play it.
Okay.
One guy. Protect him until... Protect him forever, but till June 14th at least. I don't know what their plan B is if something happens to this guy, but like we got that quote today.
Okay.
And I feel the amount I feel relief over an organ is crazy. So organist, that's booked. Musicians and stuff we're tying up and booking. We're having a friend who is one of the best opera singers in Europe sing at our ceremony. She volunteered for that, which is like so special. Venue's done, buttoning up final menu details. I'm going to say something controversial. I hate a canapé, so we're fighting over canapés at this moment.
Okay.
Apparently people love them. I don't
even know what a canapé is.
Like those like mini appetizers that get passed, but they're never that good.
Okay.
They're never that good.
I can't even visualize what it is.
Like a mini salmon cone.
Oh, got it. Oh, I kind of like those. If it's like a little mini tartare.
Everybody likes it. Everybody likes it. I don't.
Okay. What do you want instead? Like chicken skewers?
No, I want stations.
Oh.
I don't. Here's the thing.
I don't like a past appetizer.
No. I just think they're never that amazing.
Okay, got it.
Unless it's like a little mini like burger or something.
Yeah,
but then I'm
those
like,
are good.
But then I'm like, let's
mini
do
grilled
that later.
Cheese? Yeah.
Like, that sounds good, but they don't do that in Portugal.
Yeah. That's American.
You know? And so I just think like, I'm like, let me tell you the real reason. I get the ick watching people chase around servers.
Oh, yeah, that's awkward.
There's always someone's uncle who's standing at the entrance where the servers are coming out wolfing down the food. And I'm like, I can't see it. I can't see it on my wedding day. I can't visualize someone's uncle like cornering the servers.
Because they're starving.
They think they will not eat the rest of the night. Yeah. They don't understand that there's plenty of those to come out.
Yeah. Well, I think that's to our point earlier that oftentimes a lot of American weddings, there's not enough food.
Oh, no. Oh, this has been, I'm so scarred. The amount of weddings I've been to of friends, I've been a bridesmaid 13 times, which it's like that movie.
You're very popular.
Or I'm really good at planning, and so people like to have me involved. But
they're like, you'll become our bride. You'll be my bridesmaid, AKA free wedding planner.
I'm like, it's weird how none of these weddings had a wedding planner. No, but I of course loved my angels. I loved being a bridesmaid, but so many of the weddings I've been to, not enough food. And I think maybe it was because we were younger and maybe our budgets were a little smaller.
Yeah.
And so
budgets were smaller, guest list probably bigger.
Yes.
So
well, also a lot of these happen to be destination weddings where you were bussed into the area, but then there was no escape. So there's no going down the street to get food.
Yeah.
There's no DoorDash.
Yeah.
There is only, I'm in the middle of the Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
It's 10 p.m.
I'm starving.
I'm starving.
Yeah.
Like one of my friend's weddings had basically like a scant cheese board.
Oh, no.
It was scary. Like it felt like a zombie movie where people start like
attacking.
Attacking. Yeah. So I was
you and my father would get along very well because my dad's thing is not just the lack of food, but then also he said that when you go to some weddings, you have to bring a hammer and a chisel to like cut the chicken. Like he has a thing about like overcooked dried chicken, which is actually very, very hard to serve.
Yes.
Plated meals timed perfectly. Like that's why catering is like, it's not just something you take lightly. Like, oh, a caterer needs to be able to cook for 100 people, 200, 300 people and time and deliver everything so it's hot, perfectly prepared.
And it's like, okay, so I recently went on a cruise and they had like a seating and it was like 1,000 people sitting at once. And I was like, as a planner, I was just like, I want to see this logistical nightmare unfold. But like, they're asking me, they're like, what temperature do you want your steak cooked? I'm like, honey, it's not happening. Like, let's not
pretend.
Let's not do this little play of like what temperature and like, oh, whatever the chef recommends. It's like, no, guys, it's gonna be medium well. We know all of our steaks are gonna be medium well. We know the surf of the surf and turf is gonna be rubbery as hell. So just bring it however.
Yeah.
Give me your
Was
dad's
it rubbery?
chisel. Yes, of course. Gray all the way through, honey. Could have used it as a hockey puck, but like it's scary.
Oh my gosh, you and Charles would be BFFs because he like literally he's passionate about this. He went on like a 5-minute like dissertation about different types of food, and then what he also doesn't like, which I know is a very big trend, and I'm actually for it, but like he doesn't like at the end of like a beautiful wedding, like at the St. Regis, right, or at the Four Seasons,
okay,
where then you walk outside and there's like a hamburger truck.
Okay,
he doesn't like that.
He doesn't like high-low.
No, he doesn't like high-low. He's like, why don't you just have like enough food for the meal instead of like me starving and then you give me a greasy burger or a greasy taco? And I'm like, I kind of get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's like 2 a.m. and you're like, or midnight and you're starving and you're going to eat whatever that is. And it's like supposed to be cute late night snack, but he's not for that, which I can appreciate.
A late night snack.
Yeah.
You know what?
An unhealthy late night snack.
Oh, so he wants, he would love Portugal. You know why? Is because in Portugal, their tradition is at like 2 a.m. they break for kale soup.
Ooh.
Weird.
What?
They break, it's like soup break.
Okay. At
like,
2 a.m?
So I went to my first Portuguese wedding 2 years ago.
With Vito?
With my fiance. And he was like, we hadn't seen the program of the evening yet. They actually broke from tradition and did hamburgers. They actually brought McDonald's in at the end of the night. Okay. But
Charles would not like that.
Charles would leave this wedding. No, it was a beautiful wedding. But let me just say,
he's also not a diva. The only thing he really cares about is...
Well, so far Charles forced you to have an engagement party, planned the whole thing, and then said no hamburgers. So Charles may be a diva more than you think. I think you're clouded because he's your father, but I love him. I'm obsessed with him, and I want to meet him. But this wedding, my fiance was prepping me because I was like, what's the Portuguese wedding traditions? He's like, well, we have a big dinner. You sit for a long time. You eat a lot of food. Then we dance. Then about 2 a.m., the second round of food comes out. I was like, damn, second round of food. What's going on? I was like, is it like late night snacks? He's like, no, soup. Soup. Kale soup. Everyone sits down, soup. And I can't think of anything I'd want less at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He goes, no, it gives you the energy to keep going. And I was like, wow.
Did it give you energy?
They had McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
They had McDonald's.
Okay.
And so I was like, I never got to experience it. But when we met with our caterer, they did give us the option.
Are you doing
the
it?
Kale soup. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I can't. I don't want to do it. I think people don't want to sit down after the energy's up.
That's something that I don't really love when you're at a wedding reception and the reception timeline is very orchestrated where it's first we do speeches, then we dance, then we have a toast, then we have a sit down where you're getting up and down. It reminds me of we just had Easter holiday if you have to go to anyone here who goes to a Catholic or Christian church, when you have to like get up and down in the pews constantly, like that motion of having to get up, sit down, there's no flow, and it feels like really, you know,
it kind of is jarring.
Yeah.
But also you're like, I find that like, you know, people want to do speeches like before people are eating or whatever.
I don't like speeches.
I'm like,
are you doing speeches? Sorry if you are.
Yeah, we'll probably do some speeches, but like my friends are cool.
Okay.
So I'm
I
like
always
not
get
too
embarrassed.
worried about it.
That's one thing that I've gotten like backlash on podcasts and on posts when I say like, I personally,
you don't like him.
I get secondhand embarrassment really easily. So if someone's speech is not good,
well, 99% of people are bad at it.
Yeah, or when they have like, they talk with the voice that goes up like this, and they're kind of like reading a little script, and it's like that makes me anxious.
Do you like to give speeches?
I don't love to give speeches. I mean, I can, and I've done a lot of public talking, but I would prefer not to. A thank you is nice, like a 2-second thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, you know, like a thank you for coming.
Sure.
We're so grateful. Please enjoy your evening.
So you didn't speak at your engagement
I
party?
did, but that was a request from my father. So now he's sounding more like a diva.
Charles.
And my dad is an excellent speaker, and he gave a beautiful toast, and that was really, really nice. And Jesse declined to say anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesse's like, I'm good.
He's like, I'm good. And so then it was me, and I gave a little.
And did any of the guests talk besides Dad?
No.
Okay.
No. That was something that I'm no. Thank
You would have hated my engagement party. They did freeform. We all stood around. So our engagement party was probably 60 people, something like that. It was the first time Vito's Portuguese friends and my American friends were all meeting. So my friends hosted at their house. It was beautiful. They own this huge brownstone in Brooklyn. It was gorgeous. They did a table of like Tex-Mex because I'm from Texas, and a table of
delicious.
Portuguese like food. It was gorgeous, like beautifully executed. But you would have hated it. We all stood around in this like big mass, and people were just like freeform giving speeches.
Look, I love people sharing. Like, I'm actually okay with that. What I don't like is when it's like on a stage with people, and they're like cutting their chicken, and you hear clanking, and it's like, you know, you could tell someone's nervous because they're been at like. That formality is what stresses me out. I love a rehearsal dinner when people can come up and just like
you love
wish
a freeform speech.
Freeform, relaxed, and it's really coming authentically from the heart. What makes me uncomfortable is when it feels very forced and planned, and it's very structured. Yeah. Because then it feels like, I think it takes away from the evening, because it feels like you're at like a business presentation and someone's nervous.
I maybe we'll have a PowerPoint. Maybe we'll have PowerPoints. Like, everyone prepare a slideshow.
I would die.
You would die. Well, here's the thing. I think
maybe
also,
I'm not coming. Maybe I'm not gonna. I'm gonna.
You're coming. Shh. No. So I think one of the main things is also picking people to give speeches that you know want to, especially if you're
and are good at it,
and they're good at it, and that feel excited about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, holding your sister-in-law at gunpoint to like make a speech at your wedding, like maybe she doesn't want to do it. Like, have people that are going to be entertaining and great at it and who want to do it. There's always people that want.
I just always go to SNL. You know those SNL skits where it's like the bridesmaids where they're like singing a song and doing a dance? That's what I go to right away. It's what I think of. I feel like
Do you find that in general people are doing less? Because you obviously witness a lot more weddings. Do you feel like a lot less people are having like big wedding parties? And, like,
I was just talking about this. Yeah, I think a couple things have happened. One, as the average age of couples has gone up. Like, when I started Loverly like 10 plus years ago, the average age of a bride and groom was like 26 and 27. Now I think it's like 31 and 32. I think it's kind of swinging back the other way, though. I have been seeing younger people getting married like in their mid 20s, which I guess it's like a normal age, right? For me, if I got married in my 20s, I would probably be divorced twice.
No, I would be still hanging out in the Lower East Side, like throwing up in my shoe.
Yeah,
like it would have
been a problem. Yeah,
like,
but I think as that's happened, people have been delaying their weddings. They have been shrinking down the guest list, spending more per person, and as such, your wedding party ends up shrinking a little bit as well, because you're not feeling the need to include your best friend from kindergarten, your friends from high school, your friends from college, your friends from work, your cousins, your family. Like, you know, those bigger parties end up.
Totally.
So I see a lot of people having no wedding party, one person. Actually, Courtney, Finance Brides, was just chatting about how no wedding party, but all of her close friends, she's having them essentially like wear a color. So
like house party kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's so interesting because I'm from the South, and like in the South, it is so still
strong. Is it like sorority sisters type thing?
I was in a sorority, but I was like the one with like pink hair.
Yeah.
Like I was like the weird sorority sister. They were like, oh, I guess we'll let you in. Everyone else is like cute and blonde, and I'm just like, like crazy. But like,
are you having a wedding party?
No, I'm only having children. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
I'm only having children in my wedding. I'm having 10 children in my wedding.
Amazing, beautiful.
It is going to give royal family, whether they like it or not. They're all gonna wear white. I mean, not the boys, but the
girls.
The girls will all wear white. The boys will all wear little mini suits or tuxes.
Cute.
Which, like, to see a miniature person in it, I guess
Love
they're
it.
called kids.
Love it. a mini human
in a little suit is just
cutest thing ever.
So cute.
Yeah, I agree.
All my flower girls are getting to choose which dress they like, and so, of course, they're all getting the most poofy.
Yeah.
They're just like that one.
Yeah.
I'm like,
okay.
Great. Poofiest, biggest, sparkliest
Love it.
princess dress. And it's all of their first times in weddings.
Oh.
Which is gonna be
what's the age range?
From 6 months old to 20.
Wow.
So there's
20 years old?
Yes.
Oh, that's not
Ushers.
really a child.
I consider them childish.
Okay. That's an adult. I think 17, 18 year
They're
old.
getting
They can get tattoos and they can smoke cigarettes.
They can drink in Portugal.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
So they're adults.
Well,
okay.
I call them my children.
Okay.
They're like second cousins of Vito's.
Okay.
So they're like, to me, they're still like
babies.
Okay. They still sleep till like 2 p.m. If
Okay.
you sleep till 2 p.m., you're still a child.
Okay.
So yeah, that's our wedding party. And
are you doing a big cake? Are you doing a dessert situation?
So we, due to the time constraints, we were gonna do tiramisu because I love tiramisu.
Me too.
But instead, we're gonna just do wedding cake because in Portugal, again, they serve a dessert with the menu, then you have wedding cake, and then there's a dessert buffet.
Yeah.
So it's just too much. It's too much sweets.
Yeah. Too much food.
Too much food. So
Yeah.
we're like, okay, we don't need to add a tiramisu tower.
Yeah.
We're going to do a beautiful champagne tower for photos and, all of that. But we're doing classic cake. We're doing lemon. Love a lemon cake.
Yum.
I'm actually not a really big cake person. Are you?
I like cake, yeah.
You do?
Yeah. I'm a chocolate cake with a really...
You're a chocolate cake.
With a buttercream light whipped frosting. So the juxtaposition. And not like a rich chocolate. Like
Guys,
a
don't
light
do
chocolate.
fondant. Don't do fondant.
I don't think people are doing much of that
People
lately.
do fondant. I see it and
But I don't
sucks.
think people eat it. I think it's just for design. It looks really pretty.
Yeah, it looks clean, but whatever.
I'm into Lambeth, that like buttercream,
Yes.
like vintage style. I'm like really happy that it's here. And I feel like we do it at a lot of our events, at the Loverly events,
yeah.
but because I love it so much. And I know that it's feeling like frozen, like it's a trend, but like I just prefer the taste of that whipped buttercream.
Guys, it's about the way it tastes.
Yeah.
Like people, I mean, like, look, I think cake cutting is cute, but like when I would do weddings, I would always kind of make the cake cutting like more of a photo moment for the bride and groom.
Yeah. I don't think people watch it. That's another thing that like if you're doing a cake cutting for everyone to watch, that's part of that speech structure that I don't love.
And also, if your husband takes your cake and wipes it on your face,
oh no,
get a divorce. I see these videos on TikTok of grooms smashing their wives in the face with cake.
I wonder if there's like an indication of like if your partner, husband or wife,
divorce.
What's the divorce? Immediately.
Immediate divorce.
Annulment.
Go. Take the paperwork hasn't gone through. The paperwork hasn't gone through yet. You say, forget it. We're keeping the gifts, but you cannot. It's horrible. But going back to like these choices, it's also like with we went from having a budget of like $0 because we weren't going to have a wedding to now spending a lot of money. We're like having to make those hard choices of like, does a tiramisu tower mean enough to us to spend $6,000? Like,
is that how much?
No, but it was upcharge, extra, and it's
the
like
special cups,
exactly
being tray pat, like all that stuff.
I'm like, is this going to be a meaningful enough moment?
Yeah.
Like, would this be something I remember?
Yeah. So what are you splurging on?
So for me, for my fiance, it was his most important thing was Catholic church. Mm-hmm. So I was like, we can do a Catholic ceremony. I'm not Catholic, but I'm like, I love a show. Mm-hmm. Like I love a pomp and circumstance moment. So I was cool. That was important to him. So I was like, we need to pick the biggest, most ornate, gorgeous Portuguese church.
Hence the
Organist.
million-year-old organ. Okay.
I mean, the church looks scary.
Okay.
And I love it. I love that everyone is like, is this scary or is this nice? I like that feeling. I also didn't know if I was going to be very pregnant at my wedding. And I'd be like, it's kind of iconic to be 6 months pregnant at a Catholic wedding. Going down the aisle just with my bump. Yeah. But then I'm not pregnant yet.
Okay.
So if I am by then, I'll just be a tiny bit fat.
Yeah.
So that was his non-negotiables. Catholic ceremony, he really cares about that. My non-negotiable is aesthetic. So aesthetic in the venue. So I'm really picky about the look of the table. I do not want it to look like a typical wedding. Mm-hmm. I want it to be really super layered, very antique, and speaking to the venue, which is kind of an old palace, which is now converted to the Red Cross in Portugal. But it's an old single family owned palace.
Oh, wow.
There, which is gorgeous Portuguese tile everywhere, really haunting paintings of dead people.
Okay.
I love it. I love it. I'm praying for a haunting that night.
Oh, no. I don't love that.
You don't love that?
No. Oh. But I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. So aesthetic was important to you. So what does that mean? So, and obviously food is culturally important. So that's part of it.
Yes.
What about photo and video?
So I'm going to say something really controversial, and it's actually something that's changed from when I was a planner. I'm not doing formal video.
You're not? Are you doing content creator?
I'm doing content creator.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love a wedding video, I think wedding films are stunning, and I think people should have them if you want them. I just know myself, I'm not going to look at this. Mm-hmm. I want vertical video. I want tons of raw footage that I can sift through and make my own videos because of my job. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're not a content creator in your life, get a videographer. It's a great addition. But for me, I just know that most of the video content I'll be putting out is vertical video. Mm-hmm. And so we have actually the girlfriend of our photographer does wedding content creation.
Amazing. So they're coming together.
They're coming together as well as a second shooter. Always get the second shooter if you can afford it.
Worth it.
We definitely were it doesn't matter how much it is. We're going to do the second shooter. We also did our engagement photos with the same photographer.
So you get a feel for the chemistry. I think that's a really smart move, and we always encourage that because you don't want the first time to be with your photographer. And look, you put a camera on this girl, let me just tell you. You become a different person. And not a different person. You become a glamazon. It's kind of crazy. You know how to work a camera. And
it's gross.
Only because we recently did a shoot together for Loverly's I Do Crew, and got the pleasure of meeting your adorable, super sweet fiance. He actually is great in front of a camera too.
He is.
He's really good.
I mean, he
gorgeous. Doesn't have the same which I don't think it would be great if a guy came and all of a sudden was working the camera. Yeah.
So you work the camera. I don't want him to know his angles.
You know your angles, but he is so handsome and so endearing, and I cannot wait to share the photos with you because they're so gorge. I got a little sneak.
I just want him to be you're so good looking, you're so handsome. I want people to need to tell you to put your chin down. You know, I don't want I'm the star.
Yeah.
There can't be two stars, you know? There can't be two stars in a relationship. It just doesn't work.
Also on your wedding day, people are, if it's the first time that you've ever had your photos taken or that many photos, because it's over an 8-hour period, it's good to get a chemistry check and a vibe with because I always see, because I produce a lot of editorial photo shoots all the time. And I know the first hour or 30 minutes, depending on how long the shoot is, there's a stiffness and there's and then at the end you just see these men come to life working the angles
totally.
And they get comfortable, and I feel that energy is important. Get it over with the engagement shoot, and then on the wedding day it's not the first time, so those first
100%.
Photos don't feel stiff and rigid. So I love that.
And if you're a bride, because I know there's actually a lot of girls that reach out to me on Instagram that were like, I'm taking wedding photos, I don't know how to move in front of a camera. If you can find...
You should do a masterclass on this. You're so good at it.
Well, I mean, I was just wherever you live, find a local photographer. do a little shoot with them.
But some photographers don't direct.
Yeah, that's true.
That is something. So that is something that when you talk to a photographer and you're interviewing them for your wedding, like, and if that's what you want, I personally love when the photographer has a vision and can work. Like Christina Lilly, who did the shoot, that you didn't need any direction, but she is someone who has such a great eye and can like teach you how to pose and like, why don't you try this and try that and do it in a way that is not intimidating.
Yeah, it's not making you feel like, God, you're
some
ugly.
Photographers are more of the photojournalistic style where they're taking photos as is and they're not styling, and which is a very popular style and is for a certain type of person. If that's what you want, almost like documentary style, like that's one thing. But the more editorial, where there's like a little bit more posing, like you need someone to art direct you on that.
Yeah, especially if you are not like used to being on camera, like for
which
my
is most
job,
people.
Yeah, which is 99% of people. Like with my job, I'm used to being on camera, and I've been doing this for a really long time. But in my early days of like modeling / content creation, I did a shoot in LA with this guy, and it was the weirdest moment. Basically, we said hi, and then for 2 hours, not a word.
No conversation.
No. Just the only word was, okay, we're going to move over here. Like location.
Silence.
Thank God the photos came out well, but I was like, I've never felt so mine in my life of just like, am I okay? Am I ugly? Is this okay? Am I being weird?
You need the reassurance.
Yeah. I need a little cheerleader.
Yeah.
I need a little cheerleader. You're good at the shoot. You were like, ooh, look at you. I'm like,
well, I mean, you're a natural. When I make it, actually is really impressive. I actually warned the photographer. I was like, wait until you put the lens on her, see what's going to happen. And it's like all of a sudden, like the face, like you know how to work it, and it's impressive. I think you should do a masterclass on your Instagram stories. We could do a collab post. Loverly will share it, and you could say, posing in front of a camera 101.
Oh my gosh, we should do it in a little event. We should do a little event. It's like, come have a cocktail and we do a posing event.
And we teach you how to pose. Yeah, I'm down for that.
I think
it'd be helpful because it is really intimidating. And then also not all photographers will do that. So you need to, yeah.
But also I think like one thing about like wedding photos too is like, especially whenever you're doing your shot list, and this is something I used to always tell my clients, make your shot list as small as you can for like posed shots. Like I know everybody, like a lot of people want mom, dad, grandma, cousin, mom, dad, grandma, aunt, all of them together.
Yeah.
Like they want a million variations, but just really think about which of these photos you're really going to value over time, which of them are going to be framers, but then also like think about, like you want to enjoy your cocktail hour too. That's why I always tell my clients, always do a first look, just because like
I think it's becoming a lot of the norm now. People are just trying to get, because they want to be able to actually enjoy their reception. They want to enjoy their cocktail hour.
Absolutely. I highly recommend it. You're still going to get that surprise at the end. Like when you're walking down the aisle in a wedding dress, you're still going to get that moment of like, whoa. Speaking of your wedding dress. Yes. Because you were on a tight timeline. You helped me. I did help you. Loverly, oh my God, I'm about to do a basketball terminology. I don't know anything about it. Like you did like an assist, and see, this is where I shouldn't do sports. I should stick to what I know. Like I'm like, you did a tipping it in the basket. No, I went to Kelly and I was having a meltdown, and I was like, oh my God, I have a wedding now. You were like 90 days. It was not the full 100. I was like, you don't have a dress yet? I was like, great, let's make some calls. Literally, you set it up. 24 hours later, I'm booked into a wedding dress appointment. When I tell you, I did Chinae Alexander, and they were so great because they were just like, we can make it happen on this timeline. Which most wedding dress designers I'd reached out to were like, it's too tight. It's 6 months. Yeah. Like, we cannot do this. Which is normal. Like, if you have the luxury and you're not planning a wedding in 100 days, like, you decided to. Don't do it. Yeah. Don't plan a wedding in 100 days. Like, I can't tell you that enough. But if you are, contact Kelly. Reach out to Kelly. This is her direct line. No, so basically, I went out to Jersey with like 5 of my friends. We went to his showroom. And when I tell you, there was a woman there. She was a magical woman. I don't even know if I told you this. So Justin was there. He's so fun and so nice. But there was this woman, and I think she helps design some of the dresses. She certainly is like leads the fittings and whatever. There were a couple other girls there that were like helping me get into dresses, but this woman was just like,
she knew her shit.
she was like a mystical woman. She was giving me like Stevie Nicks energy. She didn't look like her, but she just gave me Stevie Nicks energy. And I had pulled some dresses beforehand. I told them like, these are ones I'm interested in. She sees me. We talk for 5 minutes, not about wedding dresses, just chatting. She's like, hold on. Based on your vibe and your personality and your body, I'm going to put a dress in the fitting room. It was the first. I was like, let me get this dress out of the way. Because I'm like, I know what I like.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like this dress. Put it on. They zip me up. Magically, it fits. If you've never been clamped into a wedding dress, you know what I'm talking about. And I look, and you do that like mirror side head tilt. And I'm like, I love it. And she was like, I thought this would look great on you. I was just like, is this the what? And I was like, I can't possibly pick the first dress. Like,
but you did.
Went out to my friends. They all jaw dropped. They were like, well, this is the dress. I'm like, no, I have to try on at least 10 dresses.
Yeah.
Tried them all on every single time. They were like, but that first one.
Yep.
I picked the first dress I tried on at my first formal wedding dress appointment. And this mystic picked it out.
She knew.
She knew. And she was
well,
like,
I think it's so important when you're trying on wedding dresses. You always think you know what you want. Like I always thought I was going to be like a mermaid fit and flare type person, and then like I actually when I tried that on, it didn't really feel like me, and especially with my engagement party, it was like a little bit over the top, not appropriate.
what's your vibe?
I mean, I don't know.
If you had to put on a full wedding dress today.
Oh man, I love beading. Like I just give me some.
She loves the sparkle.
I love sparkle and pearls. Actually, the dress that you wore the at the recent shoot,
yes,
like that kind of like the amount of texture and color and pizzazz.
You want to be encrusted.
Yes, encrust me. I think just like I want to be like a jewel when I walk in that I'm like shining, like all the bling.
But what about shape?
And I think shape depends on where I am in my body journey, because I have been very fit and like petite and like jacked, and like in that I might do more of like a sheath kind of whatever. But when you're a little bit more voluptuous, like I had a baby, I'm having another baby, then I would probably I'd have to work with the shapes. But
I think the current pregnancy you would definitely have to work with some shapes.
But that's where a bridal stylist is actually like legit, where they can see your body and they know how things fit, where it's like I went look at something on a hanger and be like, absolutely not, I'm not trying that. That's not me. But they know, because they get different people into dresses all day, or different women into dresses all day long, and they know how things fit and they know how to like,
well, it's also, I think, and this is something I realized when I tried on wedding dresses, because obviously like most of us don't go around trying on wedding dresses unless you're,
but it's really fun.
Unless you're like really hoping for the day to come and like, you don't have a partner, but you're just like, I gotta just see what it's like. I had never tried on wedding dresses before. So I'm like, I don't know what I look like in a wedding dress. And I picked something that is so not what I thought I would buy.
I saw it though, and it is like so you.
But it's weird. On me, it's me. But
when you see it hanging on a hanger, you don't feel.
I just never thought.
Just with the hair and just your vibe, I was like, oh, it's like when you she sent me a sneak. Well, you didn't show your fiance, did you?
No.
Oh, it's a surprise. Okay. She sent me a text of like, and I was like, oh my God, like
it's amazing,
unbelievable. So I cannot wait for the big reveal. It's gonna.
We also the Chinae Alexander team was so amazing. I was like, at the time I was like, I could be pregnant or not, so just have it flex. They're so good. They're like, we'll have your last fitting like 3 weeks before, so whatever your body is doing,
we'll be there.
I'm like, I could be 30 pounds fatter. I don't know. Leave it in the seams. Leave it in the seams just to. But they were just so flexible about it, and like we're doing long veil, and then I'm doing some short dresses for other events. I'm doing little whites.
Oh, great. Love
and
that.
I don't even know if I told you this, but I'm getting courthouse married in a week.
Oh, I saw that you got your marriage license.
Yes. So basically, if you've ever gotten married, like I was born in Korea. My fiance is Portuguese. Korea doesn't do birth certificate. It's insane. The paperwork has been a nightmare. So basically, they were like, in New York, you can get married if you got $35.
You're like, let's do it.
Like if New York, it's just like anyone can get married. Okay. I don't know why it's so easy in America, but it's just easy. So we're doing a courthouse wedding. We were not supposed to do a courthouse wedding. We were going to do it all in Portugal. Because of the paperwork being hard.
Do you have a dress?
I do.
Okay, I was going to say, I was like, are you asking me for a dress?
No.
She's got a dress.
Wouldn't be shocked if I was, but no.
Do you have a photographer?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So photographer, and I'm doing a short Jenny U dress.
Oh, cute.
Short Jenny U, little white dress for like a New York fun vibe. Moment. And then I picked another Jenny U dress for one of the other wedding events, and then I made you some water, just little whites in there. Cute. Sprinkled in as well.
Amazing.
And then my shoes, I'm doing Dolce Vita for some of they have a great bridal collection.
Really cute stuff.
Doing Dolce Vita for my bachelorette and some of the bridal events. And then this English brand called Harriet Wild is custom making my shoes for the wedding.
Oh, wow.
So
Are you gonna wear them before?
I'm going to break them in around the house.
Okay, good.
I'm going to be wearing biker shorts and my wedding shoes around the house. But for sure, because I'm just not trying to have blisters.
Yeah.
So yeah, that stuff feels like pretty settled. We don't have wedding rings.
I know. We've been working on that.
We're working on it.
We'll get that.
That's easy. You can go to Costco for those if you need to.
Yeah. Costco.
You know they sell rings at Costco.
You know, whenever I go to Costco, I do always look at the jewelry section. Just I'm curious what's there. Like,
you know what?
Aren't you like?
Also, hot tip for anyone planning their honeymoon. I'm not doing this, but like I have done. Costco sells vacation packages.
And they're good?
And they're incredible.
Oh, wow.
They're incredible, and they have the best service. You get tons of upgrades. You also get like special like stuff in your room. It's great. Like I cannot recommend a Costco vacation enough. No, they're not a sponsor of this podcast. But like I went to Costa Rica on a Costco vacation.
You loved it?
Loved it. It was the most well-organized vacation I've ever been on.
Wow. I've never heard of that.
Costco, reach out.
Okay.
But yeah.
She's open for brand deals. Actually, that's one question I do want to end with, because as a content creator and influencer, right? So much of your business is promoting brands that you love, whether it's beauty brands or you're starting your fertility journey, like sharing that with your audience and fans who are very obviously engaged in you and your story. How have you thought about integrating brands into your wedding day? Like, is that something that you're down for? And like, just pull the curtain back a little bit.
Yeah. So I think like I have seen some like branded installations at people's weddings. I don't think I don't mean like there,
that. Yeah.
But no, I have seen that. I'm like, is this South by Southwest? What's going on? Not doing
like a lip gloss wall, like
no,
walk
literally.
in, sponsored by Kylie.
I'm
lip
not
kits.
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. So I do have a few people that gifted some stuff for my bachelorette party, which is so fun. And then for the wedding, it's mostly like vendor related, like dress, you know, those things. But with gifting and also like partnership stuff, I think with weddings it's harder because the timelines are really strict. It's also like I don't necessarily want to be creating massive amounts of content on my wedding day.
Also, you might not want to be sharing all the details of your wedding.
And that's great about a lot of wedding vendors that are like working in wedding world. They understand the timelines a little bit better. Like for most of my content creation stuff, just normally it's like very quick turnarounds on needing the content back. But with wedding, they're like, we get if it's 8 weeks or whatever, because obviously you're not sharing pictures with the world. I think it's also really fun to do some pre-wedding content.
Like as you're planning, sharing along the way.
Like when I went to Chinae Alexander, I shared all the dresses that I didn't pick. That wasn't mandated content from them, but I just thought it was fun. And I think also like, but even before I was a bride, I loved looking at bridal content.
Oh, yeah.
It was just fun.
Yeah. I mean, Courtney from Finance Brides, like 3 years before she was engaged, she was looking at it, creating it. Like it's wedding TikTok or wedding talk is really big. I mean, obviously that's part of Loverly's business is content.
Exactly. You're like, thank God people like this. but it's like, it's really fun. And I think because the world is so challenging right now and like everything feels like kind of icky, it's really nice to be in someone's joy. Like, it's really nice to celebrate with people. Like, one of the things I'm doing that's maybe, you know, this is not so much on the brand deal side, but I am going to be inviting all my Instagram followers to stream into my wedding. So I'm going to be basically they'll have to RSVP to a live stream link, and then that will be live during my wedding.
Wow.
Which is...
Because you want them to be a part of it.
Yeah. Just during my ceremony, just because it's like not fun to watch people eat for hours. But yeah, I want like people that have been really along for the journey, I want them to be there, you know? And like, obviously I can't have 170,000 people or something come to my wedding, but I want them to have an opportunity to be there. And like, people have been so encouraging of our relationship. And like, I've been through insane single periods, long relationships, breakups, you know, my mom going through cancer, like me trying to conceive now. Like, these people are like family. Mm-hmm. You know, I like them more than certain members of my family. So it's kind of like, why wouldn't they be invited?
I love that so much. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to share about your planning?
No, I think like...
Well, we're going to be sharing your wedding photos.
Yeah, you're going to be involved.
Yeah,
like,
we're going to be sharing it on Loverly. We're going to see it. And
maybe I'll come back afterwards and we do like...
We'll break it down.
We'll do like...
Let's get a PowerPoint for that.
Oh my God, what the hell happened?
Yeah, I love that.
Like, can you in fact plan a wedding in 100 days?
We'll do a post-mortem.
Yes. I mean, I think it'd be so fun.
I can't wait.
Thank you so much. I hope you come.
I hope so too. You're going to revoke my invite.
Yeah, seriously. Thank you so much.
This has been the Loverly Wedding Podcast. We are hosted by Kelly Khalil, produced by Natasha Barkman, Kayla Fitzgerald, and Jennifer Alvarado. Watch the podcast on YouTube by subscribing to our channel, and you can follow and listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, and every major RSS feed.